brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking host, the good old boys. Now it's sippin' time.
Hello and welcome to this Sips episode where everything good in life is worth discussing. As always, we are the best thing on at 2 a.m. This is a 1-hour show that is allegedly entertaining for, half a dozen minutes. We are banned in 6 countries, 4 states, and due to TSA regulations, we are not allowed in the sterile areas of any domestic U.S. airport ever again.
Allegedly.
Well, we won't go there, Maury. This is Made Man Bob. Joining me today are good old boy Brent.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here. I like this new clock you got. It's like a moving waterfall. It's got me mesmerized.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. I just hope that you like it down here in the basement.
It's the 70s in the basement.
Yeah. It's Florida. It's damp in the basement. And Made Man Maury.
Good morning, gentlemen. Pleasure to be here as always.
And good old boy Harmeet.
Yeehaw, y'all. Roll Tide. Oh, God, I'm tired.
Oh, good Lord. Wow.
It's too
2
late.
in the morning.
Wow.
It's 2 in the morning. Wake up.
Get over it.
Drinking.
All right. Brent, Maury, and myself are with the Bourbon Mafia. The Bourbon Mafia is a non-profit organization composed of bourbon enthusiasts and industry professionals. With representation in 8 states, our members combine a love of bourbon with a passion for charitable work. The group uses their love of our native spirit to raise money for local and national charities through rare bottle auctions and other themed events. Check us out on Facebook at The Bourbon Mafia.
Actually, you can't check them out on Facebook. Isn't there a private group?
No, we have a public page.
Public page?
We just haven't told you.
Right.
As far as you know, everything's
you say Jew? Are you anti-Semitic? What's going on?
No. You don't understand. I'm from South Florida.
Yeah.
So do you want to come over here? That's fine. Right. Did you ever see Scarface? Yeah, that's how we talk down here. Our show is sponsored in part by Fine Spirits of Cooper City, Florida. Whose website and Facebook page don't work? Yeah, okay.
They work.
All right. Home of the Enigmatic Machine, serving great wines, whiskeys, and other spirits by the glass. You can find them at where?
Find them.
I'm not hiring SEO for this. I gotta update the website.
Our sip segments.
Join us on Facebook and see what's going on.
Our sip segments are all about wine, distilled spirits, tea, coffee, and today's show we are going to be tasting some whiskeys from the Luxco company. So, Brent, why don't you give us a little bit of information about Luxco?
Thanks, Bob. I'm happy to do so. Luxco began in 1958 when Paul A. Lux and David Sherman Sr. created the David Sherman Corporation as a private label bottler, serving the needs of distributors, wholesalers, and retailers. Starting out with one brand in 1960, they have steadily grown their portfolio to include vodka, rum, gin, liquors, and more importantly,
that would be liqueurs.
The brown liquor whiskey, yes. In 2006, they changed their name to Luxco as a tribute to the founder, Paul Lux. The company is 100%
and Bill
family
Coe,
owned.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. 100% family owned to this day, which is rare in the industry.
Is damn rare,
yeah. Yeah, it's rare in the industry, so that's nice. Recently, Luxco bought a 50% stake in the Limestone Branch Distillery, and Luxco is currently building a $35 million distillery in Rickhouse in Bardstown, Kentucky, named the Lux Row Distillery, which is slated to be completed by the end of 2017.
That's pretty soon.
Yeah, yep. Very soon.
No, so they've got if you go on their website, they've got like a live cam on there. You can see them like, they're dropping in tanks today. They're putting in the column still today. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. That's
Poor David Sherman, he probably
There's
died.
The construction guy smoking weed behind where they should be.
That's going to be great.
No, that's just in Florida. It's illegal now.
Yeah.
You used to be able to travel to distilleries in a couple of days. Now it's going to take you a couple of weeks to hit them all. But
they're all getting closer. They keep opening. A lot of them are opening up around Bardstown, so that makes the driving a little bit easier.
Yeah. So, well, the list of whiskeys from Luxco that we will be tasting today is Rebel Yell, Rebel Yell Small Batch Rye, David Nicholson 1843, David Nicholson Reserve, Yellowstone Limited Edition 2016, and Yellowstone Select. And we want to thank Pia Reinhold, representing Luxco, for providing us with these samples of the show today.
And thank you very much. All right. Maury, why don't you tell us about our sounds?
Yes, we'll be tasting and discussing the whiskeys today and rating them with our classic sips ratings plus our signature sounds. So let me explain the sips rating. 1 sip. Give me a glass of water to wash out my mouth.
Water. Bring water. Bring water.
2 sips. Nice. But what else do you have?
Well, isn't that nice?
I believe it's pronounced noise.
Noise. N-I-O-C-E. Yeah.
N-O-I.
Thank you for that correction.
I prefer O, except after Q. Yeah.
3 sips. Interesting. What was that again?
Interesting.
You can hear his testicles retract into his body when he says,
4 sips. Let's keep this a secret to ourselves and pour me another.
That's classified.
5 sips. Oh my. I was unaware anything could be this good.
Oh, my goodness.
he meant it that time.
His wife didn't, but you know. All right, so let's get this whole thing started. So, Harmeet, why don't you introduce our first whiskey?
Rebel Yell!
Hey, that is the actual real Bo Duke. Okay, come on, man. Took me a long time to find that one.
That's
Play it
awesome.
again.
Yeah.
Play it.
Oh, yeah.
My dad had a 1972 Dodge Charger SE, except it was the General Lee, except it was deep blue. Beautiful car.
It was the General Lee?
It was the General Lee.
Oh, my goodness.
So let me tell you something about the General Lee.
Did it jump over many piles of shawarma? Yeah.
I was going to jump over stuff, but then as soon as I turned 16, my parents inexplicably sold the car out from under me.
And bought him a Yugo. Yeah.
Bought him a scooter.
I turned 16, that car was gone. So no General Lee for me.
Yeah, well, I had a 914 Porsche that my father sold out from under me when I turned 16. So,
nice.
cry me a river.
Actually, wasn't it a camel he was driving around at age 16?
It was an elephant.
Yeah,
Please
it's an
get it
elephant.
right.
Yeah,
No.
wrong continent.
In Rebel Yell is I love the way my mother pronounces it to this day. She says Rebel. I don't understand what hick got her saying Rebel, but it's Rebel. So Rebel we sell. It is 80 proof or 40% ABV. For y'all who can't do math, that's half the proof. Rebel Yell it's a weeder. And it's one of the first weeded bourbons. Was it actually the first one? Or yeah, it was the first, marketed back in 1936 by Stitzel Weller, the hallowed and methical.
Well, they made weeded before that, but 36 was when they started marketing it under the Rebel Yell name
right.
to, you know, I mean, let's face it, it was 1936, and where were they going with this one? You know, it was all in the Southeast, so hey, what the heck?
We got a weeder, and Luxco now owns it. So this is the new label. This does not look like anything like the old labels of Rebel Yell. I don't know if you've seen some old bottles. Bob, can you describe one of your old bottles of Rebel Yell?
He's got many old
I had
bottles.
the good fortune to have a much older one back when it was still Stitzel Weller back in the late 50s, early 60s. And, yeah, you know, little Kentucky Colonel with a Rebel flag and everything. It was very, you know, wow.
People would be offended today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But God, what was in it was great.
I believe it. I've had some of the old stuff myself, but let's get on to the new stuff. Okay. New stuff, new bottle, very pretty, great looking label, not so offensive with the stars and bars. No offensive racial stereotypes anywhere on it. We're good with that. The color, a pale gold, very beautiful. Nose, I got some honey, a little bit of butter. Vanilla, slight citrus, lemon, but and a kind of a wood resin. So that automatically thought, this smells young. Does it say straight bourbon on there? It does say straight bourbon. So that means it has to be 2 years old or older. And I'm guessing it's 24 months on the dot. Palate. I tasted it, and it was pretty straightforward. I mean, the honey and that butter, I didn't get much of anything on it. It was not a complex whiskey. The fact that it's 80 proof left me wanting more from it. The finish was actually pretty good, surprisingly long. I had it was, like I said, for something that was so Jejune, let's say, it had a surprisingly long finish.
Jejune?
Jejune.
I'm a little worried. I'm not going to sit next to you anymore. Okay.
I gave it 2 sips, by the way.
Okay. Brent, what'd you think?
Okay, well,
isn't that nice?
It's 80 proof right off the bat. The color is very light compared to everything else that we're tasting today. But in
we are proof snobs. I mean, you could take almost anything and water it down to 80 proof, and we're all going to go,
yeah. But I mean, with all the flavors that are there, they're all muted. So you have all those flavors. You have the honey and the raisins, the vanilla, the lemon.
I didn't get any raisin.
But they're muted though. They're very muted. So it's very subtle. It's just a very light whiskey overall. I got a little bit of honey, a little bit of butter, and then with the finish, I get a little bit of bitterness with the plum. And it's a short finish, almost no finish at all.
Really? I got a long finish.
You got a long finish? I got almost no finish at all on this one.
I swear, man, you've burnt out your taste buds.
Yeah. I know I have.
Coat your palate.
I know that 190 proof stuff that I'm drinking is just...
You know what? It's not really a short finish.
Yeah.
It's a short time before you go from one bourbon to the next. You don't wait.
That's what it is.
Way off the Everclear. Okay?
Way off the...
You're supposed to put that in your race car, not in your mouth.
Right, well, the problem is that we all have become proof junkies.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like I said, you could take the finest thing you've ever had and knock it down to 80, and we're all going to go.
Yeah, but
so I'm looking past that. I'm just looking at what we've got. So what do you think?
You guys do that.
Yeah, for me, it was still a short finish, almost no finish. I'm going to give it a 2 sips.
Well, isn't that nice?
And we'll be back.
Rolling clouds and crashing surf, iridescent dunes reflecting by the light of a rising, glowing moon. Seashore mesmerizing, night breeze hypnotizing. We've come across these back roads none too soon. Look to the left, to the right. Keep your eyes on the road, my darling. Wondering if we're only passing through. Open roads and open windows. My hand is yours forever, sweet love.
And we're back. We're talking about some products from Luxco, and we're talking right now about the Rebel Yell. So, Maury, what'd you think?
I'm going to concur with what Brent said. I think it's ordinary at best. There's nothing wrong with it, but there's nothing that stands out and shines and really makes you get up and take notice. It's a perfectly fine entry-level whiskey. I think for making drinks or just, having a college party, it'd be perfectly fine.
You remember college? You didn't do it right, did you?
No. But I would agree. I think it's simplistic. It doesn't have the layers of complexity that we're used to in many of our other bourbons. Again, nothing specifically wrong with it. I agree with some of the flavors. I found there was something a little off-putting with the finish, to be perfectly honest. I'm going to give it 2 sips.
Well, isn't that nice?
All right. Harm and I both had this. It was, I think it might have been before the new package came out.
We had it a couple years ago.
We had the small samples, but when we did the Weeder show, it was probably a year and a half or 2 years ago. The thing with it is it is young. And that was what everyone said at the last one. It said, it's well made. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with it. I'd like to see it at about 90 proof, and I'd like to see it with about, 2 to 4 more years on it. Because I think, if you put this out at 6 or 7, I think you'd really have something. I mean, it's well made. I think it's just, it's too soon. It's a little too young.
I agree. I neglected to say that was one of my other thoughts, is that it's just young.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing fundamentally wrong with it. I mean, heck, I drank it. God knows Brent is drunk.
Well,
Brent will drink anything.
They do make make that Rebel Yell 10, which is absolutely fantastic.
The Rebel,
it's one of the hottest things hitting the market.
We tried to
right
get
now.
one of those for this episode, but
it's
unfortunately,
very, very
the
hot
last
right
sample we got, the three of us drank about
we
a month ago.
We drank
that
it
one
very quickly.
That one went down real smooth.
Yeah.
Please, if Pia and the rest of the folks over at Luxco, please put more of that out, and please bring some down to Florida. I'm going to concur with everybody. Again, it's not, there's nothing fundamentally wrong with it. It just needs more time. And, I think they're on the right track. We'll see where they go. And once they get the new distillery up and running, but I give it a solid 2.
Well, isn't that nice?
So, to recap, not complex and too young. What would that remind you of? Oh, the word Jejune. There you go, kids. NPR. Don't give me those looks.
Jejune.
Where did you find him?
He was sitting out on a box in front of Home Depot. He said he needed work, so I said, "Jump in the back of the truck. What do you want from me?" Jejune.
Fine.
First off, it's April, you idiot. It's not even June. And speaking of that,
sorry,
okay.
yeehaw.
Yeah,
Maury.
All right. Well,
you do something.
Okay.
The next whiskey we're going to talk about is the Rebel
Calm down,
Yell
Bo Duke.
Small Batch Rye. Clocks in at 45% ABV, so it's a little bit of a step up from the bourbon.
They're going in the right direction
Yeah,
there.
yeah, definitely. Keep going up.
The mash bill is 95% rye, 5% malted barley. We can all make some assumptions as to where that's likely to have come from. Large commercial distillery in the Midwest. Did
you just pour some more, Brent?
Stated age is 2 years. And again, I'm going to summarize by saying it's also a little bit on the young side. It didn't taste as young as the first product, but no question it's young. The thing I find that first hits me with this whiskey is the nose. There's a little bit of spice, a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of vanilla. You get a little hint of citrus. The nose was nice, but on the palate, it's very oily. I like a viscous, lush mouthfeel, but I thought this was overly oily and left kind of an oily film on my palate. It's got some woody notes to it. It's got some rye spice to it. It's got the usual caramel and a touch of vanilla. It was slightly more complex than the first one. I thought on the palate, the flavors were nicer than the bourbon, with a little more depth of flavor, a little more complexity to it. And then there's the finish. The finish sort of had a little hint of petroleum in it for me, and really just kind of didn't do it for me. I'm going to give it 2 sips.
Well, isn't that nice?
All right, Harm, what'd you think?
I hate to say it, but I agree with Maury on this one. I really loved the nose. I thought this was a nice, pretty rye with floral notes and spice, a little bit of vanilla, good citrus coming through, but I got cardamom on the nose and cinnamon.
Cinnamon?
Cinnamon. I said cardamom right, didn't I?
Yeah. No one's going to say cinnamon right.
Yes,
so.
cinnamon.
Yep.
Cinnamon and cardamom. Cardamom.
Yeah,
Anyways,
cardamom.
Your mom?
Leave your mom out of this.
Your
Yo
mom.
mama is so, yeah.
Get your mom in the car. So cardamom, cinnamon, beautiful floral notes. And I was like, oh, this is good. And then taste it. A little woody. The spice is there. And then the finish hit. And oh my God. Can we just bleep everything I say from now on? Just bleep. Just hit the bleep button. Bleep, bleep, bleep. 1 sip. Petrol. It tasted like petrol and mineral oil. It was bad.
Water.
All right, what'd you think, Brent?
I have to agree with these guys. It's at first thought you're looking at it and you think you're gonna enjoy some of it, but the age definitely shows through with this. And I got on the palate, I got an oily and mint. I mean, and that's the best way to describe it. I got a little bit of mint in there and oil, but the finish, the whole thing leaves that oily film in your mouth as you got your finish to it.
It wasn't the texture that bothered me. It was the flavor of petrol and like a mineral oil.
Yeah,
kinda,
it just wasn't.
It's not mineral oil. Mineral oil has no flavor. There's a.
You
like
drink a lot of that, do you?
It's some sort of fusel oil. When I was a kid, and
He's constipated. That's what you use.
When you're bad, the parents say, "Here."
Yeah, but it just wasn't. It
that
wasn't
explains
that,
a lot,
right? I'm going to give it 2 sips. I think it's
You
got
are
some
generous.
promise.
Well, isn't that nice?
All right.
I think
felt
it's got
betrayed.
I hope it's got some promise as it gets older. I mean, I want it to get older. I want this to grow up. I want it to grow up, and I want it to get rid of that oil. Those are the 2 things I want it to happen.
That finish, that oiliness, that's all from the initial distillate, and that's not going to improve with aging. I don't think.
I agree.
That pretty nose, I feel like
Harm.
I got stabbed in the back. It invited me in with this beautiful nose, and then she had her arms around me, and then I felt the knife. That was bad. That's just a 1 sip.
Yeah,
Bob, how were you betrayed? Are you bitter too?
No, not like you. No. I've only ever been married once. So, yeah, and I'm still married to her. So, no. Unlike you, I don't carry that baggage around for the rest of my life. Though there was definitely an oiliness to the mouthfeel on it. The nose was very promising. The palate, I got to say, the same thing with Maury. I got a lot more complexity, a little bit more depth to it up front. I didn't get so much of the minerally petroleum. I didn't get that so much on the finish.
Just general bitterness, no?
No, I definitely got a bitter sort of dry note on the end. I didn't get, that oily
It's almost like rancid
kind of
walnuts.
Yeah, I didn't get that. So it's, it just goes to show you how palates are different. But, I think it was a little bit better than the bourbon. I give it a 2.
Well, isn't that nice?
So let's move on. We're going to go to our next one, and we're going to have Brent tell us about this one. This one I actually had to pull out of the closet. Figured we'd round it up from 5 to 6. So,
yeah, you've always come out of the closet with things. So this is David Nicholson, 1843. It's 50% ABV. This is another label with the Stitzel-Weller legacy. David Nicholson was a grocer in St. Louis, Missouri, who gained fame for his whiskey blend back in 1843. The brand was acquired by Stitzel-Weller and was subsequently acquired by Luxco, who began producing the bourbon in 2000. You got a nice light gold color on this. On the nose, you do get the honey, the vanilla, the oak. No, it's a little bit darker than light, but I mean, it's a nice.
It's not very dark. It's not very
still,
impressive.
but it's a light gold, But you get, and you do get a little bit of get a little bit of the charcoal, on the nose to it. But with the palate, you get that spice, you get that brown sugar, some coconut, some walnuts, a little bit of walnuts. The finish, it's a little bit. The finish is just a little bit bitter, still. It's and it's a short finish. And I just give this a 2 sips.
Well, isn't that nice?
all right, Harm, what'd you think?
I'm sure that you guys must have poured me the wrong whiskey, or I don't know how you got 2 sips out of that. Why
don't you knock it off with them negative waves?
I thought it was.
Why don't you dig how beautiful it is out here? Why don't you say something righteous and hopeful for a change?
Let's wait for another couple whiskeys and I'll say something righteous and hopeful. This one was.
Are you going to give it another 1 sip?
Dramatic. This was dramatically bad. The nose was, again, this is not complex. Or it's more, sorry, it is more complex. Too young, but something definitely off. All I got was first oak and leather, some good walnut, and then the walnut starts smelling a little bit bitter because there's honey and butter underneath all that oak and leather. I put it in my mouth, and it was crazy prickly on the palate with like baking spices and like baking soda almost. It was just a weird concoction in the mouth. It was just, and then the finish went all rubbery on me. It was petrol and rubber and black walnut that had gone rancid again. And 1 sip is too many sips.
I don't know what he's tasting.
I'm upset that you even put this in my glass.
Here's the funny thing. He's had this before because I poured it for him at one of our society meetings and drank it then and he didn't say anything about it.
Yeah.
I was being nice to you. I'm doing this for the radio for our fans.
What did you have fans? Okay.
I get email.
Yeah. Yeah, it's usually from debt collectors. What did you think, Maury?
Well, I'm somewhere in between the other two. gentleman, and I use the term loosely.
Somebody come in?
Exactly. To really summarize, I think I think the whiskey reminds me of the first one. It's simple, not very complex.
Jejune?
It's a nice.
I'm going to stab him with his Jejune stuff.
Who are you calling a Jew?
See, racist. Okay.
I think it's relatively simple and not very complex. What I didn't like about it was the finish. It was short and somewhat bitter, and it left me sort of with an unpleasant finish.
Yeah, you want more. It's like you want more. You want something more. You want it to linger.
Up front, the nose was fine. I was okay with the nose. I was okay with the mid palate. I was okay with the flavors.
Right.
They were all okay. It was well made, but something on the finish was a bit off for me.
Yeah,
I'm going to give it 2 sips.
Well, isn't that nice?
All right. Well, I think it was a pleasant whiskey. Again, like we said, well made. I also think like the first two, it could definitely use a little more time in the barrel. I didn't get, the heinous bitter aftertaste that you guys apparently did.
That's water to wash out my mouth.
But it's, I thought it was definitely a pleasant enough whiskey. I give it a 2.
Well, isn't that nice?
Bob, why don't you tell us a little bit about maybe even a contrast the Dave Nicholson Reserve?
Well, I would if Mr. Happy over there would hand some down to me.
You have to ask me nicely.
Okay, please hand me some whiskey. Thank you. All right. Let's open this one up.
That was appropriate. That sounded like Jack Nicholson, and we were drinking the Nicholson whiskey. How appropriate of you.
Yes, I know. I spend all night finding these, please. All right. Unlike the traditional David Nicholson 1843, which is usually a wheated bourbon, the Nicholson Reserve uses rye as its flavor grains, coming in at 50% ABV.
Or its favorite grain.
And, it's, again, going up in proof, so right there I'm already liking it. It's got a really nice color to it. I'm getting on the nose. I'm getting a little bit of toffee and a very slight sort of a caramelly kind of coffee note. I'm getting a little bit of vanilla on this and just a little bit of clove. And on the palate, hold on. Yeah, I'm definitely, I'm getting some vanilla, some muted caramel, a little bit of baking spice. Again, not a extremely overly complex whiskey, but, well made. Medium short finish, a solid, a solid whiskey. I give it a 3.
Interesting.
Brent, what do you think?
I have to agree with a lot of that. I get peanuts with it though. And, this is a nice honey color.
Yeah, there is a
enunciate because I didn't, I didn't want to hear that.
Peanuts.
Thank you.
Like Charlie Brown.
Yeah. Right. With the nose, I get some, vanilla and oak. On the palate, I definitely get peanuts and oak, clove, spice. Peanut.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
A little bit of vanilla, but I agree.
Jejune, okay? Yeah, shut up.
This still for me though. It's got a nice little mouthfeel to it. This is one of the, we're working our way up, and this is, much nicer than what we've already had. But it still has a short finish to me. I wish I had a little bit longer finish. I know you said it was a medium finish, but it's still a little bit short finish. I'm just going to give it a 3 sips. I enjoyed it.
Interesting.
All right, Maury.
I concur with you, Bob, and with what Brent has already said. I think it's definitely a step up from what we've had so far this morning here in the basement. It's got a nice nose. I definitely get some peanut on the nose. I definitely get the vanilla, the clove, a little bit of nutmeg, and not so much peanut on the palate, as Brent said, but the usual flavors of vanilla, toffee, caramel, a little bit of baking spice, and perhaps even some hazelnut. The finish was nice, but I would agree, short to medium. Definitely a step up from what we've been drinking. And if I were going to buy one of the Nicholsons, I would definitely say spend the money on the Reserve. It's 100 proof. And I give it 3 solid sips.
Interesting.
Jejune?
Yeah. You already talked about the Reserve.
Isn't his name Abu?
Reserve. Yeah.
Yeah, Reserve.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining the program.
Thanks you could be here with us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, the reserve is very good. I was surprised after the previous one. There's a problem with the distillate in the previous one. This batch is excellent. Toffee, peanuts, oak, a little bit of clove and nutmeg. I enjoyed it, and I want to give it a 3, but I'm still bitter, so only 2 sips. You know,
you're a bitter man, that's for sure.
Well, isn't that
It's
nice?
nice. It's nice.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. But what is
unlike Harmeet, it's nice. Yeah.
nice? It's nice.
I was very generous of him to give it 3 sips.
Oh, you're always complaining.
Okay,
I was really generous of him to give it.
Did you everybody give a rating on that one? Is it my
Yes.
turn? Yeah,
It's your turn.
I was zoned out.
Harmeet, how about you tell us about the next whiskey?
The
please?
last whiskey of the night
It's
is
not the last.
Not the last
No,
one.
it's not the last.
No, so
Again, thanks for joining the program. Yeah.
Oh, the select. We're in the select. Oh, yeah.
Come on,
this is
Harm, move it along.
This is the first good one I liked. There you go. So,
Move it along.
next product is Limestone Branch. Limestone Branch is also owned 50% by Luxco. The whiskey is created by blending of barrels of 4 and 7-year-old bourbon.
It's Yellowstone Select.
Yellowstone Select. What did I say?
Limestone Branch is the distillery.
Right. Okay.
Thanks for joining the party.
Guys, give me crappy bourbon. I have to drink water to rehydrate. This one is the first good one of the night. The nose was brown sugar, banana, a little bit of citrus on there. The palate was hazelnut and toffee with cherries. I really enjoyed it. The mouthfeel was palate coating. It was it's a 3 bordering on a 4, but tonight's a 3 sips for me.
Interesting.
Bob, what did you
bitter
think?
all night.
Yeah, constantly
You
bitter.
tell me, Bob. Tell me, Mr. Sunshine.
Come on, Bob. Tell us what you
Why
think.
don't you dig how beautiful it is out here? Why don't you say something righteous and hopeful for a change?
Well, because he's Harmeet, and he's never said anything righteous
Or hopeful.
in his entire life.
Doom and gloom. Mr. Doom.
I'm a brown man in America today.
You're just a bitter man in
Persecuted.
South Florida is what
Yeah,
you
you're
are.
persecuted.
Good
He's living
Lord.
the American dream.
If I didn't have that beautiful blonde wife and kid, I don't know what I'd do. So go ahead, Bob. You want to say something?
It's because you kidnap them and won't let them come back.
Brainwashing. It's all
you won't let them
brainwashing.
come back to the family. Good Lord.
We do visit Alabama.
Nobody wants to go visit Alabama. Besides,
Tide.
now that you're in this program, you're banned for life from Alabama. So, please give me a break.
Fine. All right.
We'll be back.
It's not just the destination, but baby, the whole elation of riding down this lover's avenue. As slow as a willow blows, or as fast as the whirlwind grows, we glide beneath the stars in cobalt blue. Look to the left, to the right, keep your eyes on the road, my darling, wondering if we're only passing through. Open roads and open windows, my hand is yours forever, sweet love. Our eyes ahead on these back roads with a view.
Welcome to the Happy Sunshine Show, kids. Bob, we're back.
Ay, Chihuahua.
Why don't you just call INS?
You are a doctor. Can't you get us a prescription to just do
He's going to
something
prescribe
about
medical
that?
marijuana for all y'all.
He's going to prescribe something stronger for you.
Mm-hmm.
But that day you picked him up in the back of your truck, you should have just called INS.
Mm-hmm.
They'd have deported his ass.
Unfortunately, I didn't. This is
me
what
back to
happens when
Iowa.
you feed a dog and you bring it home. Then look what happens. You can't get rid of him. And we're going to have to take him out in Alligator Alley and drop him off at mile marker 60. So, God.
I'm going to go look for the bones of your dogs now.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
an evil man.
We're reviewing Yellowstone Select.
Happy Sunshine.
Hand me that bottle.
By all means.
There it is, coming around. Once around.
Yeah, well. All righty. Let's pour a little bit here.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not Brent. I don't fill this Glencairn to the top.
If you don't fill to the top, what's the point?
It's got a nice medium color to it, and a little bit of, sort of coppery burnished bronze. It's got a nice nose. I'm getting some used leather. I pick up just a slight banana note in there. Some dark red ripe fruit. Very pleasant note.
This was a big turnaround for me on this one too.
I got to tell you, this whiskey has gotten a lot better when you compare it to what we've been drinking.
Oh,
early on in the night, I wasn't sure, or the morning, I wasn't sure I was a fan.
Okay,
but it's getting better.
On the palate, I'm getting a lot of caramel. I'm getting definitely some hazelnuts. I'm getting a little bit of toffee. A little bit of spice, some light oak to it. Very pleasant whiskey. I definitely would, have no problem drinking this. I give it a good solid 3.
Interesting.
But would you pay retail for it?
I don't pay retail for anything. That's why I'm on this show. Are you kidding?
Don't give away our secrets. They're not going to send us any more free samples.
Okay, listen. I don't disagree with anything you've said about this whiskey. And the question is, if you had to put a price on it, how much would you pay for it, Bob?
I'm not gonna go by price. I'm just trying to judge it by what's in the bottle.
This is not the show.
Yeah. Because the other problem,
on a price show,
because the other problem with that is we're not dealing with normal times now. We're dealing with times where something that you used to pay $15 for is now selling for $25 or $30 or $35.
This is the bourbon boom.
Yeah,
it's a bourbon boom.
I refuse to go by price because and for that very reason, I've had stuff that that is ludicrously expensive that is really disappointing, and I've had stuff that is not expensive.
No, you're missing
really
my
good.
point.
No,
my point is, it's
is it a good value for the dollar? I'm not here to judge that. I'm just judging what's in the bottle.
They can't see you roll your eyes on the radio, but ladies and gentlemen, there should be an eye roll soundtrack for that one.
I'm agreeing with you that we don't buy anything based on the price. There's no question. There's no correlation between the price.
We don't rate anything based on the price
and the taste. No, I'm talking about buying or rating. You're going to have things that are more expensive.
Yes, I have. So
there you go.
I'm just simply saying that the price to value or the value to bang for the buck ratio, I think may or may not be there with this particular whiskey. It's a clear step up, but it's a huge step up in price.
What's your review of the whiskey? Because clearly you have a point to make about it.
Yeah, apparently he's got a point. I mean, I'm still waiting for him to actually go into his review and give us a sips rating, but he just goes on and on.
I'm going to actually taste it again. Because
okay. I think the whiskey...
I didn't taste any of the other whiskeys a second time. This is the first one tonight I'm actually pouring again.
All right. Well, I agree with Bob on all points with the whiskey. I think it's got all the usual things and all the things he's mentioned, the caramel, the leather, the brown sugar on the nose, some spice. It's got a nice mouthfeel. It's got definitely more pleasant feel on the palate. It's got a little bit of viscosity and weight to it. Definitely getting a little toffee and nuts and vanilla and caramel. It's a nice whiskey. It's very well made. I really enjoyed it. I really have nothing bad to say about it. I think it's very well made. I think it tastes a little bit younger than its stated age. Supposedly it's made from barrels 4 years and 7 years. I have a hard time.
You don't know the percentages. There's there's 15 barrels of 4-year-old and 1 barrel of 7-year-old.
Well, exactly. It tastes a lot more like a 3 to 4 year old.
But that
bourbon.
makes 11. So what are you complaining about?
It tastes
this
a lot.
Is definitely not turned up to 11.
It tastes a lot more like a 3 to 4 year old bourbon. Maybe 4-year-old average than it does a 7 or more year old bourbon. So it's young. It's going the right direction. I definitely liked it better than the first time I tried Yellowstone, which I thought was even more young. I give it a solid 3 sips.
Interesting.
So what did you think about?
Hello, picnic basket.
Oh wait, no, that's sorry. No, that's sorry. It's my mistake. That's Jellystone. We're talking Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You should have played that when we introduced the whiskey.
This has got a nice darker color to it compared to everything else we've had. It's I enjoyed it a lot. It's
caramel color does wonders.
Yeah.
I don't know if they legally add color in Kentucky.
They can legally add caramel.
In Kentucky?
Caramel, yes.
No, they cannot.
No, they can't.
Not to bourbon. You cannot add bourbon.
You can't add
American whiskey. You can not bourbon.
Right.
And they can add distiller's caramel and Scotch.
Yeah, but
those cheeses
are nice. But it's got you got the brown sugar, the bananas. I get some cherries, with it. The spice, on the palate, it's got a really nice mouthfeel to it. You get the vanilla, the toffee, cherries. You get the banana peel, some oranges, a little bit of spice.
What's a banana peel taste like?
I'm going to tell you.
The back
tastes like cement after you hit the floor.
Yeah, you get, and but you get, it's a nice medium finish with a lot of cherries and vanillas and stuff. But overall, when you have that, when you're tasting it, you do get just exactly what you said. It tastes younger than what it says. It doesn't taste like a 4-year-old. It tastes more like, it does, a cross between a 4 and a 7. It tastes more like,
3 to 4.
A 3 to 4, exactly. So, but it's still very nice. It's still very nice.
And it's going the right direction.
And it's definitely going in the right direction from what we had a year ago. And I enjoy it. And I'm going to give it a solid 3 sips.
Interesting.
Was that unanimous? Wow.
Yeah.
You gave it 2. Didn't you give it 2?
No, I gave it 3. Oh, I gave it 3.
Praise the Lord.
See? Sunny and bright.
All right, Maury.
Optimistic, hopeful.
Okay. Last but certainly not least, we come to the Yellowstone 2016 limited edition whiskey. It is 50.5% ABV. It is a 7-year-old bourbon that's been blended with a 12-year-old bourbon. It does have a 7-year age statement on the label because that's the youngest whiskey in the blend. But again, it's blended with 12-year bourbon. They've been given some time to marry for several months in toasted wine barrels.
We don't know what kind of wine barrels, do we?
Now, this one really is
new
different
barrels,
in color. I see this one as being much more reddish and coppery in color. I agree that the prior Yellowstone had a nice dark whiskey color, but this one's really even darker and again, really coppery in color. I like the color. It's very inviting and very appealing.
Turn your flashlight on, you'll see the color. It's too dark in the basement.
On the nose, I'm getting lots of caramel corn, nuts, vanilla, toasted bread, a little bit of spice, even a hint of citrus. But the other thing that's interesting about this whiskey, when you nose it, just after you put it in the glass, you get a lot of bread and yeast on the nose. That tends to go away when you let it breathe. Mine's been in the glass now for a little while.
1 second, yeah.
And the breadiness and the yeast kind of blows off a little bit. On the palate, it's got a very nice mouthfeel. There's definitely some hazelnut, hint of cherry, caramel, vanilla, oak, and spice. Again, a beautiful weight and viscosity. Really, frankly, it's the best thing we've tasted in a long, long time down here in the basement. I like it very much. I would definitely say this is a keeper, and I'm giving it a solid 4 sips.
That's classified.
All right, Brent, what do you think?
Okay. This is nice. It's got a really dark color to it. It's got a dark honey color to it. Definitely the darkest one we're tasting down here tonight, as far as looking at it.
Well, unlike you racists, I don't see color. I'm just saying. You guys are all about the dark meat, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
What you do, you get that you get that yeast right off the bat.
That's why you pick them up in the back of your truck.
On the nose, you get that yeast and the bread and the vanilla. Right off the bat, I get those things. A little bit of spice, a little bit of citrus, but not very much. And then with the palate, I get some nuts. I can't quite determine what nut. Somebody said
Bob's left nut.
Hazelnut.
A left one or something. Yeah, but it's
hazelnut.
Yeah, but
I've never met Hazel, but
yeah,
okay.
I never met Hazel, but I guess it's a left.
She's the one with the limp.
Yeah. I get some cherries.
I apologize for all of us. I think we've been drinking.
Get some caramel. I get a little bit of spice to it, and then it's got a great mouthfeel. Get a lot of vanilla and caramel, and you get some orange peel. It's got a nice medium finish. Nice medium finish. It's not a long enough finish for me yet. But
nothing is a long enough finish for you tonight.
No, there's a lot of things that are a long enough finish for me.
I meant tonight. I think you're just pouring the next drink too fast.
WD-40 lasts a long time. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
He's just moving out of the next drink.
No, if you look, he's just pouring sips. But when he usually fills the glass, it's to the top, so the flavor never goes away if you drink it by the quart.
I think you have to admit
this is above the label.
Finished.
It's the longest finish that we have. It's the longest finish that we have tonight of everything that we had.
I wouldn't call it long, super long, but I would call it medium, bordering on long.
Exactly. Yeah, nice medium finish. Yeah,
it's a long finish.
You're no judge.
A nice medium finish.
You're judging long.
I was hoping.
I was a good judge of long. Trust me on that. I spent the weekend with you at the Whiskey Obsession Festival. Trust me, you're no judge of long.
Maury adds 2 inches to every finish.
I do like it. I do like the age of this. I enjoy it a lot, but I'm only going to give it 3 sips.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's,
Interesting.
I in another couple of years, I really think this is going to be something.
Well, that was really horrible. Oh, you're always complaining.
It's not going to get any better.
Wow.
It's going to get better. It's going to get better.
This is sourced whiskey. It's not going to age longer. It's not going to get better. It is what it is.
It's going to get better.
All right, Harm. Let's get away from Mr. Bitter over here and see what you have to say.
This is the Sunshine and Happy Hour show. We
You
love
obviously
this.
have a wonderful economy with words. I look forward to your next syllable with great eagerness.
Did you
Go
want me to
ahead,
say-
Mr. Wordy.
Did you want me to say Jejune again? This one was certainly not Jejune. This is a
slap you.
complex, beautiful whiskey. In fact, I would say complex, layered, and just old enough. It's just mature enough. I don't think it needs to be any older. I did get the caramel corn, the toasted bread. I let mine sit in the glass for a good 20 minutes. And
You never let anything sit that long.
Yeah,
It's been
please.
sitting here this entire time, gentlemen.
The only
I've been-
thing that's ever
I
sat
used
20
the other-
minutes in
the
his
other
glass is
here-
water.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Water sat that long.
Yeah.
Actually, my water didn't last that long because
Yeah.
I had to get the taste out of my mouth from the previous ones. But at any rate, vanilla, beautiful spice and citrus. And the breadiness came back. So it blew off at first. There's not that yeasty smell, but this is nice toasted bread. On the palate, hazelnut, cherry, oak, good spice. Added a little cold water to it, and I got a little more green tea coming out and more of the hazelnut coming out. The finish I think, is long. I add 2 inches to my finish. It's long finished.
You think lots of things are long, and like Maury, you're
Yes.
nearsighted as hell, aren't you?
And it's girthy. It's a girthy finish.
In your dreams, buddy.
It's 4 full sips, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
What do you
Cheers.
want, Bob?
Booyah.
Classified.
Oh, dear Lord, help me, please.
All right, Bob, you're going to be the tiebreaker. Let's see. Are you going to go with 3 sips or 4 sips? Just cut to the chase.
Well, I'm just going to keep this one down here, and then you guys don't get any more. To hell with you.
Just here. Where's the bottle?
At
Would you
three,
me some more?
At 3 sips,
Would you
I'm
like some?
still,
Okay.
At 3 sips, I
You
still
have
want
to
to drink
ask
it.
me nicely.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, this definitely has a beautiful color to it. I mean, it's really
You don't see
rich.
color, Bob.
No,
I
that's
do when
color.
I'm looking at you, you
It's color.
swarthy man, you. It's, got a really nice dark color to it. But again, I've been fooled by the color on whiskeys before. You'll get something that's light, that's huge. You'll get something that's dark that really isn't there. So you can't really
Especially
go
with private
so much by
private
that.
labels when they use second finish. That's for
Yeah.
Scotch more than.
Yeah, but especially with Scotch, color is no indication really. On the nose, yeah, it's got a beautiful nose. Definitely, I'm getting some candy on it.
Yours was beautiful a few fights ago. Your nose was beautiful a few fights ago.
Yeah, my nose was beautiful before I fell off that roof.
Oh.
Yeah, the bread, the yeastiness to it is like you said, that does blow off, but it's
Bob's a regular Jake Gyllenhaal.
It's nice.
beaten
It's
to within a half inch of
not
his life.
it's not a doughy finish. I mean, it's a very
No, not
pleasant,
doughy at all.
like fresh toasted
Yeah.
bread,
Yes.
and grain. You're definitely smelling the grain on it. I'm getting some dark red fruit. I'm getting some spice. I get a little bit of citrus peel on the nose.
Do we know the mash bill on this? Because it's really pretty.
No. Hopefully once they get the new distillery up, we'll be able to get the
Yeah, 'cause
mash
this
bill
is all
from them
sourced,
because this is all sourced. So, maybe they know it, maybe they don't. I don't know. I definitely get the hazelnuts on this. I definitely get some cherries on this. The oak is really nice. The spice on it is really good. Brown sugary, almost,
I get nutmeg.
almost a molasses, a little bit of molasses to it. Yeah, I'm getting baking spices on it. A really, really well put together whiskey. Definitely the best thing of all that we've tasted tonight. Hand him the bottle. Hand me the bottle.
You have to ask me nicely.
Okay.
Pretty pleased with sugar on top.
He's just waving his arms over there like I'm looking at him.
This one is definitely the winner of the night. I actually have a 2015 limited edition in the other room that I haven't opened up, and I'm not sharing it with you twits. I give it a solid 4 sips.
Sweet.
That's classified.
So what'd you guys think overall?
I like the direction that they're going. I mean, I like what's happening with them. You can see the progression between the 4 and the 7, and then the 7 and the 12 year. Mm-hmm. You can see the definite improvement with things.
What did you think about Rebel?
I like where they're, it's hopefully with their own stuff, it's going to be better. I like that. So.
Yeah, once they get their own distillery up and running, we'll see what they go with. And again, I don't think it's, anything has been poorly made. It's just...
Seriously?
It's just young.
I gave 2 whiskeys here tonight 1 sip, and 1 sip was generous.
But you're a jerk, so we can't go by you.
There was some poorly made whiskey on the table tonight.
Yeah,
well put, Bob.
Yeah, we can't go by you. I mean,
I'm not a jerk. I expect something for my money.
Yeah, okay.
You guys are too
that's
generous.
what she said. Okay. That's all the time we have today. We hope you enjoyed this episode. You can catch all of our episodes online as well as on SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play, PRX, and Spreaker, our native media host. iTunes, Google Play, and our own Android app are the easiest ways to enjoy the show on your phone. Just search for Sip Suds Smokes on iTunes or in the Google Play Store. Be sure to tap subscribe, and the show will always be on your phone. We love your feedback. You can reach us online at info@sipsudsandsmokes.com. Our daily tasting notes flow out on Twitter every day at Sip Suds and Smokes, and our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news. You'll be able to interact with all the other fans as well. Do us a favor, and please, when you're on iTunes, please rate this episode. We'd really appreciate it. It'd be great, if we could get some feedback. So please go on there and give us a rating. I want to thank our hosts. Thank you, Brent.
It's a pleasure to be here as always. I love the basement, but the waterfall is kind of stopped on your clock up there. So
yeah, well,
thank you, Maury. A better one,
Thank you, Bob. It's been a pleasure this evening. Next time I'll wear my rain boots because the water's getting a little deeper here in the basement. Must be from that waterfall.
There's a lot of things getting deeper in the basement, but it's because of the guy next to you. And thank you,
Harmeet. That's not me.
Stop it. Roll Tide, y'all. Where's my Rebel Yell sound?
All right. I've had enough Bo Duke for one night. For Sip Suds and Smokes, this is Madman Bob. We thank you for joining us, and remember what Gandhi said, you can't say whiskey without smiling.
This has been a One Tan Hand production of Sip Suds and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the Good Old Boys, will see y'all next time.